Well, hello, pipe smokers. It's me, Mike. Tobacco Pipe Collectors here. Today's video, I have tried to shoot 3 different times now. Hopefully it's going right now. I've been asked for a long time, finally getting around to it, what it is exactly I look for in pipes, whether it be for my personal collection, judging a contest like I did for the guild guys, and in pricing pipes for the website. So I'm going to briefly go over it, and maybe what I'll do is open the comments up for questions or suggestions on something you would like me to go over, and we'll go from there. But I'm going to check and make sure this video is going this time. So that'll be luck. Okay, it worked. So I guess the first thing I will go over is, well, the first thing I see. First thing I look for when a pipe comes in, or when I'm judging a pipe, is the first thing everybody looks for. How's the shaping? How's the finish? Color, all that stuff. Just a visual, okay, that looks good, or something doesn't look right. And nowadays it's a lot more difficult because shapes aren't as standardized. And I've got some examples of pipes I'll show you that kind of explain what I'm looking at, or what I'm talking about. You know, at one point, and still it goes on, a maker will get on the internet or whatever and try and find a standard for that shape. For a long time, the standard you'll hear a lot of makers use is they'll compare it to a Dunhill. They use that for sizing. Dunhills, all in their numbering system, talk about their size. This is a billiard, standard classic billiard, group 3. So it's a smaller billiard. So they would go and get the dimensions for this pipe when they made a billiard, if they wanted to keep it classic. That's considered, in a lot of people's eyes, that's considered a classic billiard. I don't usually hold shaping that, I mean, as far as classic shaping, I don't hold, it doesn't bear a ton on my decision or on my process of whether it's a good pipe or not. More uniformity. Is everything uniform with each other? Do the lines flow? Are things straight that need to be straight? Are things curved that need to be curved? And that really boils down to a personal opinion. Just because I like a pipe doesn't mean you're not going to like a pipe. Pipes are art, and art is very subjective. I'm not going to say because I say it's not shaped appealingly that it's not a nice pipe. So it's hard. It's hard to judge a contest. It's hard to scrutinize somebody's pipe. But that's the first thing I look at. I look at the finish. We'll look at this Morgan. Wax. Straight wax. He doesn't use anything else to finish this, wax and a buffing wheel. And he's got a hell of a finish on his pipes. I'm going to look over that. I'm going to see if there's any flaws in the briar. Checking out the grain patterns. I mean, this has got some ridiculous bird's eye. I don't know how this camera adjusts to focus. So, straight grain, just a standard cut block, bird's eye bottom and top, straight grain around the outside. Finish, color, contrast between the stain and the stem. This is a black-blue Cumberland stem. It really goes good with that to me, it goes really good with that color. This may not appeal to everybody. This is my commissioned Asquith Bulldog, and I specifically asked for a diagonal inlay, and he nailed it. It's a beautiful pipe. And I brought these pipes out for more than one reason. We'll touch a little more on shaping and the classic use of shapes. And one of my newer pipes, Wayne Typen Bulldog with the briar stem. Fantastic contrast as far as I'm concerned. The inlay breaks up. It's beautiful. But you would consider that a fairly classic bulldog. Asquith's known for his classic bulldogs. Classic as well. But when you put them together, they're so different. But they're both considered pretty classic bulldog diamond shanks. Both shanks are the same size, yet the bulls do two different things. This is taller. They're both the same height. It looks taller just because it's not as wide. But they're both appealing. They both look good. That's one thing I look for. Is it shaped well? Are the lines flowing? And on both these pipes they do. Consider classic bulldogs. Variation of a bulldog, a bull horn. It's got the bulldog top and a horn bottom. Still attractive. Why? To me, the flowing lines from the shank into the bowl, everything flows. Everything flows. Beautiful flow to the overall appearance of this pipe. It works. And Chris did the double lines off center on purpose. It just fits the flow of the pipe. Kind of straight with the rest of it. Dwelled quite a bit on shaping, even though it's important. It's very important. A lot of times it make or breaks a pipe, but it's subjective. So one thing that is not subjective is the internals on these pipes. I'm quite strict myself on pipes, and I'll use Morgan's again for an example on this. Any maker that's talked to me knows that this is one of the things I look at very first, and that's the shank face. Morgan's is smooth as the rest of the pipe. It's stained, same color. It doesn't have drips on it. It's not soaking. It just looks clean. That finishes a pipe to me. That is important. If you're going to spend $150, $200, $300, $500, you don't want to pull the stem off. You know, maybe nobody's going to see it, but I have to see it, and I don't want to see a half-assed shank fit. I don't. It's pretty easy to finish. Put the extra few minutes in and do it right, because that's also going to help. One of the other things I check first, obviously the transition between shank and stem, just for fluidity, but I also will hold it up to the light and see how well it seals, how well it transitions. There shouldn't be a gap between them. You shouldn't see much, if any, light. And all these pipes fit that bill. And obviously there's got to be a little bit of room there, expanding, contracting, different climates. So there's some room for that. I'm not make or break a pipe by the connection there, but it's important that it's mighty small tolerances. So I've looked at that. Usually look at that before the shank face, if it's the first initial time I'm looking at it. These guys all finish their shank faces. Tenon. If it is a Delrin tenon, I don't want to see glue around that. It's just kind of messy. I mean, again, they're not machines, so There's going to be some residual, but at least make it look like you made an attempt to clean it. That's pretty important. And that goes for inlays, rings, any adornments put on pipes. I like to check and make sure they're clean and they're on well. I like to see tapers on all connections myself. A tenon should be tapered. It just helps with the airflow. Unless they've got a different design and a theory behind it, I prefer tapered parts and trumpeted airways in the stems. All these guys have trumpeted airways, and that's where instead of just a slot with a straight drill, they're going in with these slots now and actually trumpeting them down, so when that air comes out it spreads it out, and it does make a difference. Some makers go further than others, but I want to see a trumpet at the very least. Obviously drilling on all these pipes, these are all fairly straight pipes, so it's easy to see the drill work. I'm checking where it comes in the bowl, how centered everything is. Wall thickness, which isn't imperative, but it does come into play when I'm suggesting a pipe for somebody. I don't mind thin walls. Some people smoking hot Virginias, heavy lats, and they are a cigarette smoker, or they smoke cigars, or they're a quick smoker, they're probably not going to like a thinner wall pipe. They'll like something meaty, like this. Again, on appearance, the blast. This is textbook blast on a mortar pipe. It's got just a great checkerboard on it. Fantastic. Wayne's is superb too. Look at that ring. Blasted ring, blasted bird's eye. It's fantastic. So, obviously the drilling. I'll take a pipe cleaner and run it and make sure that it passes a pipe cleaner. And all these straight pipes, there's no reason it shouldn't pass a pipe cleaner. They all do. And most do. That's really the basics of a pipe. I do also look at buttons and stems. I mean, this being a classic shape, it's meant to have a tapered stem, and it does. Wayne went with a saddle on this, and it comes down thin at the bite spot. Button is nice and thin. That's thin. I like a thin bit. It doesn't talk me out of this. Morgan is very well known for his stems, his buttons, his slot work. It's good stuff. I mean, right now, that is a hot button item. Literally, hot button. The bit part, the button, and the slot is very important. If you're a maker and you're watching this and you want to know what to spend some time on in your pipe making, work on your stems. You get that down, and it's going to go a long way. That's really about all I want to go over in this video for now. That's what I'm looking at. It's kind of the process I go through, and that's kind of almost how I do it. I jump around just like I do in everything else. My brain doesn't stop, so you guys know how I do my videos. Hopefully that makes some sort of sense to you. Shaping, finish, internal engineering, stem, button, that connection between stem and shank. If the end of the shank's finished, just how clean all of it is. Clean, straight lines, nice fluid curves. It's a nice pipe. So that's that for now, my friends. Sweet smokes. Peace.